Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the One Bitcoin Show. Today is, do you value your wealth in Bitcoin? One Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. I am offended by selling. Tonight, I'm definitely offended by selling all those weak hands out. They don't have conviction like we do here. Hello, my elite friends. Hello, you unique beasts out there. You are relentless. You are here late at night because you know this is your home for Bitcoin insider information. You're not FOMOing on all altcoins. Follow me on Twitter at TechBalt. Retweet this show. I mean, that's the best way you can contribute to the show is just spread the word to the peoples out there so they get the insider information that you've been getting for quite some time. All right. So what's first on my agenda here? My little notepad. It's been a beautiful day in LA today. I went running 8 miles. I didn't plan on running 8 miles, but I ran down La Brea. I'm pronouncing it correctly now, all you LA people. And it was beautiful. Saw some beautiful women, actually. I usually run in a direction toward East Hollywood. You don't see the ladies out there. Now, again, value your wealth in Bitcoin, but running down La Brea, it's pretty good for a while. Anyway, let's get into this. The news of the day, the biggest news of the day should be, it really should be, and this is linked to below, BitcoinBlockHalf.com. It's 60 days away, people. The freaking halving hype. Why aren't you talking about the Bitcoin halving? You know, the mainstream media that seeps into my life, I don't see them talking about the halving hype. I predicted the halving hype, and boy, I haven't been right this time around because people are worried about nonsense. So instead of talking about something substantial, something of substance, something of reality, the halving, they're talking about this craziness, but they are talking about the future money printing of Italy, the United States, European Union, all the countries are going to be printing money. But guess what? Bitcoin producing less and less every 4 years. That is what this halving is about in 60 days. So keep it in perspective, people. That halving can't be canceled. It can't be delayed. Doesn't matter. And that actually found that like button. Now, what does he mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean by that because I can't get into Zach's head. And I hope Zach comes back on the show soon. He just announces a travel ban from Europe. There is no travel ban in Bitcoin. There is no delaying of the Bitcoin season, of the halving. It's going to happen in 60 days. So that's the reliability. It is the security truth machine. And that machine does not stop. That machine doesn't care about what people are crying about, what people are worrying about, what people are blowing out of proportion. It just does not care. So Bitcoin is a very good example. It is pandemic resistant. Pound that like button. 60 days until we're partying. Now, by the way, the Tel Aviv Bitcoin party, which was supposed to take place on May 21st, I think it's going to get delayed. But they'll still be partying there eventually, and I will keep everybody updated about that. So, yeah, physical parties can get delayed around the halving, but that freaking halving in 60 days, oh, baby, it's not getting delayed. The supply of Bitcoin, new Bitcoin, is getting cut in half. And whether you like it or not, the market will react to that. So right now, in the middle of the night here in LA and back in Baltimore, Chicago, Denver, wherever you may be in the United States of America, Alaska, Hawaii, the market is reacting to Donald Trump saying Europe, this whatever you want to call it, is already in America, and it's affecting old people. If you're healthy, if you've had personal responsibility all this time, and of them. So they want things like this. This will make them feel better that Europeans can come into America. All right, that's really lovely because they're not going to let us into Europe. And all it does is it cuts down on financial transactions. It's going to hurt people financially. And so the market reacts. It creates a state of panic and confusion. The market reacts. People start selling everything. It's just a blip on the radar, people. It's people will get over this. People will wake up to see what a joke this freaking situation is and how panic-stricken people can be. How people who are supposedly men act like little girls. All right, let's move on. We'll get into that in a second. So let's go to Israel, the beautiful land of Israel, for a second. Udi has a tweet that's out there, and he says, what does he say here? And it's a funny one. I have instructed all my social media interns to stay at home and not commute to Udi headquarters during this crisis. Yes, this means I am better than you. Pound that like button. Because yes, Udi, we get the point. Many people on Twitter are telling all the precautions they're doing because they're better than us. They need to remind us that they're better than us. And that's great. People who get pleasure out of just showing how great they are because that they're worried and they're scared, they can do that. This is where the big keep up with your life. Again, I ran 8 miles and there were people at the cafes, just like they usually are in Los Angeles, showing in this freakazoid. And I mentioned this on yesterday's show. And watch yesterday's show, people. Watch everything at disruptmeister.com. And when I say strong hand, I mean to have a strong hand on life. Don't be like these weak-handed people that are just crying like anything and just in panic. But as I said on yesterday's show, I think there's people who are living their lives on social media, and they're just into a social media panic, and they need to virtue signal to their friends and show that they're better than them because they've locked themselves in their houses or whatever they've done, and that they're worried, and they're repeating the same story over and over. It's a game of telephone. They heard something bad happen in Italy. They're ignoring the good statistics from South Korea, and so they're just they're going further and further down into their little doom hole. And they live in social media. Go outside and run. Go outside and be healthy. Get some UV light. Talk to some real people, and you'll see people are going about. I mean, I'm going to synagogue every morning. They're old people in the synagogue. They seem fine. Everybody, I mean, people are going. I mean, there's real life, and then there's this social media world, which is like this weird place of crying, and I don't know. Hey, but by the way, hey, you're seeing me in the social media world, so we all spend a little time here, don't we? And I try to bring you a positive vibe here in the social media world, because again, with Bitcoin and the guys who stuck with it, since it's been $200, $700 are millionaires now. And the ones who didn't are the no-coiners who scream and cry and worry about this kind of nonsense. And but I like how Udi's got a great attitude about this. It's a joke. Plenty of people over there talking. Okay, no one has a question. That's fine. That's fine. Let me read this. What do we got here? And again, I mean, if you guys aren't used to like having bad days in Bitcoin, you fiat freaks, I don't know what to say at this point, dudes. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. You're at freaking Coney Island here. You're on that wooden roller coaster they got over there. There's some ups, there's some downs. Be ready, dudes. And just have a good attitude. Live your darn life. What does that really mean? I'm not really getting any satisfaction. It's the end of the world. I'm still as depressed as I was when things were going good. You see, look, what kind of life is that, dude? This is where the pessimists are going to get weeded out. It's funny though. If you are on social media, if you're on Twitter, you're starting to see some of the Bitcoiners are coming out of the closet as doomers, as pessimists. And remember, when this is all said and done, and it will be all said and done, because these things pass. Again, 2008 passed, 2001 passed. And when it's all, just remember who was the optimist, and who has been the optimist all along and been doing great. And now you see who the closet pessimists were, the closet doomers. And we're gonna, I don't have to name names, but I'm gonna share some tweets in a second. So what do we? Well, this person here, people getting sent to the hospital. This is another reason to be healthy. The USA will soon witness one of the vastest wealth transfers in history, as massive numbers of old people die and hospitals send medical bills to capture their entire estates. So this is true. When you're an old person and you haven't planned very well, and you're not, and you die, you go to the hospital, they milk you for so much at the end. Then you die, and then they go after your estate. And they usually take a good hunk of it. That's the way these they're pretty predatory there. Yeah, okay. Know what you're getting into. Old people, this is your time right now. There's supposedly some disease going around that hits you a little bit harder than the younger people. Okay, try to stay inside. You know, I know you want your grandson to stay inside or whatever and ruin his life, but why don't you just stay inside? But when you're inside, get on that computer and transfer all your wealth into Bitcoin. So then let's just say that you do happen to go to the you are foolish enough, like you're not feeling very well and you like, well, better be a CUCK and go to the hospital. This is not a time to go to the hospital, people. If you've got a little minor cold, don't go to the hospital now. But a lot of people are so dependent on others, so hypochondriacs and rely on the government that they just got to go to the hospital at the smallest thing. And some people use the emergency room as their hospital. Okay, you know, there's a price to pay. You're going to pay the price pretty soon. But anyway, if you're old and you do silly things like that and just go to the hospital for the heck of it, my grandma's still alive and she's fine. It's kind of so just pointing that out there. Just pointing that out. You know, being a CUCK and going to the hospital for everything. It usually ends pretty bad at the hospital. Okay, they don't, just because they're nurses and doctors there supposedly doesn't mean that they're going to care about your life at all and do the right thing with your life. And it doesn't mean that it's clean and that you can't catch anything there when you're an old person. It actually means that if you do go to the hospital, there's all sorts of disease there, not just this new one, but the old ones too. So, I mean, all these people, they're just, oh, you must go to the hospital with the smallest of things. Again, my grandma couldn't, I mean, I was on the phone with her. She could hardly speak the freaking English language. Her brain was going so whack there for a second. But she calmed down. Everything worked out fine. She did not want to go to the hospital. That was months and months ago. She's totally fine driving her car around Baltimore now. Pound that like button. So what was the point of me saying all this? Okay, so you're old, die there. Then they won't be able to take your Bitcoin. It's awesome. For your descendants, it's totally awesome for them. I'm giving you some estate planning tips here, okay? So again, if you're older, this is the time to think about it, because if you're one of those people who are just like, I got to go to the hospital all the time, I'm a hypochondriac, I think I'm sick, blah, 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 blah. Well, you really should have your wealth. You should be valuing your wealth in Bitcoin. Because if you're not, when you leave the hospital in the body bag, they're going to take everything from you because you're going to owe them a lot of money because they just charge you whatever they charge you there. When they kill you, they charge you a lot of money. It's kind of funny. So, I mean, it's funny. They're the ones laughing. I don't think it's that funny. But so when they're laughing, but then you'll get the last laugh because they'll be like, hey, we're taking there's nothing to take. They can't find the Bitcoin. They can't find the truth. They don't know about that stuff. So this is a serious tip right here in this time of everyone's talking about sicknesses and stuff. This is some estate planning. And that is the true definition of valuing your wealth in Bitcoin. Put it in they can't take it. They can't take it. And trust me, I mean, the nursing home thing, they all set it up to take everything. You know, when you do, you know, all these people saying all these people in Seattle died in the nursing home. I mean, the average lifespan of a person entering a nursing home is 6 months. I mean, do you know that? Or maybe it's the median, whatever it is. It's either average or the median. All right. Okay. I know they're different. Of course, they're different. All right, so people saying Meister, again, you got to type in Bitcoin Meister. I see people saying all sorts of things. I don't know if you're talking to me or about me, but if you're actually talking to me, you got to type in Bitcoin Meister. People following the directions, listening comprehension. We've been through this so many times. All right, there we go. Bitcoin Meister, any tips for resisting the urge to check the Bitcoin price? I mean, just don't have it open. I mean, go outside. Read some of the great Twitter threads of people that are on my show. Udis can be a lot of Ethereum nonsense, but just read some useful internet articles. I don't know, but go run away from the internet then. Don't have a phone. Like I don't have a phone, so that helps a lot. I think a lot of people must check on their phone. Put your freaking phone away, people. Oh God. All right, but make yourself a nice meal. 1 meal a day. Pound that like button. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the Bcash Lotto here. You can now buy state-issued lottery tickets directly for Bcash at lottery.bitcoin.com. So you can buy Lotto Max and Powerball Plus and Mega Millions at bitcoin.com with your Bcash. I mean, it's that's what you're going to spend your cryptocurrency on gambling? On gambling? I mean, this is what bitcoin.com provides. Hey, we want you to spend. We think spending cryptocurrency is so important that we've hooked you up so you can gamble with the state and fund the state. Hey, but it's interesting. You know, the 80%ers are going to do what they're going to do. I mean, the people who play the lotto, total CUCKs, like, ooh, I might win, but if I lose, I'll fund the government, which I depend on. All right. Worse than alcohol addiction, a lotto addiction? I don't know. Who knows? What's the thing to learn is don't be an addict of anything. Don't be an independent person. You don't have to drink soda. You don't have to fit in. You don't have to smoke. You don't have to gamble. You know, that actually save, long-term thinking, pound that like button. Okay, this just in, Italy announces 25 billion euro package to deal with the coronavirus. Okay, so I did say this at the top of the show. All Western countries are going to do this. So expect a lot of money printing, and meanwhile, Bitcoin schedule stays the same. The song remains the same. Pound that like button, Led Zeppelin. All right, houses of the holy right here as some of you go up that stairway to heaven because, anyway, I hope no one is going up that stairway to heaven. But again, if you've been unhealthy this whole time for years and years, drinking your Coca-Cola every day, getting diabetes, you're unable to breathe, and you catch any flu, well, you're prone to dying. And stairway to heaven. But I guess thinking of another song of theirs. All right. Enough Led Zeppelin. So Giacomo Zucco, who's in Italy, he has this very interesting tweet, very observational here. Okay, Bitcoiners in my imagination are survivalists and preppers, liberation, status bootlickers whining because the government isn't enough like China to save them from diseases. Well, yeah, there are a lot of Bitcoiners that are like that are clearly bootlickers and want the United States government to be like China. Hey, but we can't. That's the thing about Bitcoin. Anyone can be a Bitcoiner. Anyone can get in here. You know, people who are CUCKs, like those people who are revealing themselves right now on social media, they can own Bitcoin too. Now, do they really own Bitcoin? It makes me wonder, you know, when they're crying for the government to do this, that, and the other and cheering on, Europeans can't come into America anymore. When these people, I wonder if they really own Bitcoin. But it's their personal business if they really own it or not. If they're valuing their wealth in dollars. I mean, I've heard some of these dudes, when Bitcoin gets to the top, you got to take a little off the top. You got to take a little off the top, convert some of the dollars. Yet they're the same schmoes that are like, you mentioned an altcoin, so you're out. You're out. It's the same type of people. They're crying to the government right now, but when someone mentions an altcoin, you're out. You're cut. You go to the Bitcoin. What's it called? The Inquisition. You get sent to the Inquisitor time. It's funny. So they're willing to take a little off the top for the government printed money. I mean, that's just an altcoin. It's just a centralized altcoin, the Fed coin. So they're very willing to sell their Bitcoin for Fed coin. But then, they hear someone talk about an altcoin and that it's time for the Inquisition. They don't even realize the hypocrisy there at all. They don't realize the hypocrisy. They're trying to be so orthodox about their Bitcoin ways. And then this kind of thing happens. So this is my advice to you dudes, okay, who value your wealth in dollars, who you think China's system is a great system for the United States. Why don't you just be a little, be a little bit laid back, okay? And when someone mentions an altcoin, be like, okay, yeah, they mentioned an altcoin, whatever, that's life. It's this is personal responsibility. This is where the big boys play. There are altcoins out there. Bitcoin can exist with altcoins, because Bitcoin can sure exist with the dollar. You guys are valuing your wealth in dollars. Take a little off the top when it hits. I mean, you dudes can even predict when it really hits the top. No one knows when it hits the top. That's the thing. But we do know one thing. it's one day closer to an all-time high. So you can worship your fiat thing. And I understand you got kids or whatever to feed, but you guys who've got kids to feed and everything and sell for dollars, you're the same schmoes who start saying that person mentioned an altcoin and they should go to the Inquisition. So you're Wyoming a Bitcoin citadel, passing all the laws to protect Bitcoin holders. Are you going to get residency there? No, I don't know. I won't. I don't. Her thing, this is protecting, it protects people who put their Bitcoin in these situations with third parties where it's being loaned out and they're getting interest and there's who really owns the Bitcoin. I own my Bitcoin. I don't need to go through all this magical legal stuff. And it's great that she's creating this type of thing over there so that the big finance people who need to play these magical games of lending it out and third parties and who really owns it and this, that, and the other. So there's legal clarity for them. Okay. I don't need that legal clarity. I don't play games with my Bitcoin. I practice what I preach. I buy it. I hold it. I never sell it for freaking fiat like the hypocrites out there who are saying people who mention an altcoin are hypocrites. And then they're like, China, let's be like China and ban everyone and do this. And I'm scared that some virus is going to kill someone. And, I've been drinking soda all this time and I'm fat. So I want the government to take care of me now. Whatever. All right, moving on. But that was a good question though. And I'm good for Wyoming, good for Caitlin to do that. But she's in motion. That is an in motion thing to do. She's not sitting there crying, worrying, screaming like half these people are now. She's doing something. She's doing something, and it serves a purpose. It doesn't serve my purpose at all. I just hold my Bitcoin. But there's institutions that are coming into the space. They're like this third party nonsense lending, and they need legal clarity and all this mumbo jumbo that she's involved with. Good. Lawyers can be in Bitcoin too. Lawyers can do their thing. Anyone is welcome here. Marketing, lawyers, everybody. All right. RA803 said, Bitcoin holding up about as well as better than the S&P. Typical recession leads to 30 to 40% decline. That's nothing for BTC. Retirees can't weather that decline. Fed will try to pump. Yeah, the Fed will pump. And the Fed pumping, it usually does pretty well for the 80%ers, okay? It makes people happy again. It makes them spend again. So let them go. I have no problem with the Fed or any of the European Union, all these people printing up. Go ahead, print as much money as possible. Because right now, this so-called recession or whatever this is, this panic is caused by complete irrationality, all right? So why not do something else that's irrational that might fix it? Fine, do it. Because I hold an asset, Bitcoin, that will do great. No matter if people are panicking, if they're printing all this money and doing irrational things. But let's face it, we live in a world of 80%ers. And if they start getting checks from the government or if the airlines start getting bailed out, it works. We've seen it work before. They are satisfied with it. And then the story is changed to everything is fine and everyone is spending it now. Because right now, the big story, the big narrative is don't spend, or just stay home, don't be productive. Stay home, don't be productive, hide from the world. And that is causing an economic it's a completely fake, unnecessary economic slowdown. It didn't have to happen at all. But all these schmoes out there need to cry and scream, cancel NBA season, whatever. We didn't get canceled, we got delayed. But again, we will get through all this. That's the other thing. It's all unnatural. But hey, there's going to be all these unnatural solutions to the money printing. So I welcome the money printing. I welcome it. What I'm just trying to do out there are doing what they were doing beforehand. But a lot of people are loud about it and aren't. And it is creating financial market issues, to say the least. But it'll be fine. Bitcoin Meister, what's your take on Trace? Oh, come on, dude. Josh Owens says, Bitcoin Meister, what's your take on Trace Mayer and his MWC pump? I mean, are you familiar with my channel at all? Have you been watching? The darn thing happened on this channel, for God's sakes. I think it's completely nonsense, Yenta stuff that you even care about it. Who cares? You people put him on to be your savior. Who can? So what? One guy talked about MWC. Who gives a rat's? What you should care about, Josh Owens, here's a question for you. Were you listening to my channel all the times that I was talking about MWC to get it for free? Did you sign up? Did you get it for free? And did you turn it into more Bitcoin? Okay, that's the question. That's the question. If Trace handed out something to some guy at a conference I was at, does it affect your life, dude? What does it matter? That's what I've been talking about on this show. So you ask a question I've covered on the show 50 times, and people are still wondering about it. It's unbelievable. Now, if you haven't been paying close attention, or if you've been paying close attention to the show, then you have no listening comprehension whatsoever. But if you haven't been around the show, then I feel bad for you, because you should be watching this show every day. But this is where you get real information, and where you turn these where you know what a crypto dividend is, where you know how to turn it into something, and you don't care about Yenta gossip. Yentas. Freaking Yentas. Whoa, what do you think about Trace? I don't worship freaking Trace Mayer. I don't worship anybody out there, and they can do whatever the heck they want to do. It doesn't change what I do. I do the thing that's best for me. I get the stuff for free, and I turn it into more Bitcoin. And I think that's what you people should be doing. So if he wants to buy up all the stuff that I got for free, if it's him that's been buying it up, then he's a schmo. That's great. Let him do that. He helped a lot of people who watched this channel if it was him that was buying it. Okay, but he wasn't going around screaming, promoting it, or whatever. All these people are making up these complete lies and exaggerations about the situation, and also making up lies about people who mentioned it once or twice or whatever. It's funny. All these sudden experts on it, they don't even know who Chris, the guy behind MWC is. Here's the thing. It's a crypto dividend. You got it for free. You turn it into Bitcoin. That's what I think about the whole thing. That's what I think about the situation. If you care about who was pumping it or shilling it, was Trace even shilling? I mean, he mentioned it once on some dude's show. Completely Yenta nonsense. And I can't believe I just spent that much time on that Yenta freaking nonsense. Again, you got it for free. You turn it into Bitcoin. You never buy something you get for free. Even if a freaking genius freaking lawyer millionaire like Trace Mayer says to do it. If you fall for the nonsense of buying something that you get for free, okay, then he was my hero and he mentioned MWC. This is what you guys sound like. All the people that were crying on Twitter about it. Oh, he was such a hero to me. He was my hero and he mentioned something. Can you make up your own decisions for yourself? Are you the one? You're the ones who listen to what the government tells you to do. Go hide in your house. Go hide in your house. That's what the government tells you to do. You're the same ones that are prone to the BS. You worship these people. You put them on pedestals. Worship no man. Worship no man. Have conviction for Jesus. I'm just referring to the first century Jewish guy that lived in Israel. All right. So what do you say to the argument that because you named the disease is exponential, we should socially distance ourselves to slow the spread and avoid overwhelming the medical system? What I think about that is that old people who are prone to it, if they're scared about getting it, they shouldn't go outside, okay? They should lock themselves up. If they think it's so bad, then don't go outside, okay? The young people should go about their lives still. Well, I mean, whatever. Go about you see, we're living in it. The system, the medical system, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. People have always used the room, the emergency room as their main source of medical care. That's the problem. That's the problem. If people weren't using emergency rooms for the main source of medical care, then we wouldn't. The systems wouldn't get overwhelmed with all these old people, and everyone's a hypochondriac. Okay, but you know what? I'm not going to scapegoat. This is the thing. I'm not going to scapegoat. The hospital system. It's not a good system at all. Okay, here it is. Everyone take personal responsibility. You know what's out there. You know it's flu season. Every year is flu season. If you start to feel sick, don't necessarily run to the hospital. If you start to die, yeah, get to the hospital, okay? If you're hacking up a freaking lung. But we live in this spoiled country where everyone, one little thing, I'm sick, I got to take the day off. How many people take the day off? I mean, I've had people and my friends of mine, they don't come to events because they have a little cold or whatever. I never take a day off. Every day, new show here every day. And I understand not everyone can be as consistent and have as much conviction. But I know perfectly healthy 30-some-year-olds, 20-some-year-olds, every little thing they're taking a day off. Blah, blah, blah. It's a spoiled thing. Everyone's used to this when they got to go run to the hospital for every little darn thing problem with them. Take personal responsibility. Have a long-term plan. And so, no, what I say is that it's flu season. During flu season, everybody, responsible people, wash your hands. Don't kiss people on the cheeks like they do in Italy. Mwah, 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 mwah. Why is it spreading in Italy? Why do you think it's spreading in Italy? Mwah, mwah. They kiss each other in the freaking cheeks all the darn time. That's how they say hello over there. It's ridiculous. I mean, but that's their customs. Okay, do your darn customs. But there's a price for your customs. Okay, there's a price. So here's the thing. just, there's a flu going around. There's disease going around, okay? Just be clean. Be clean. You can hang out with people still, okay? Don't go kissing strangers on the cheeks. Don't be licking your hands. I mean, don't act like an animal, okay? Act like a civilized human being. Control your spit and everything. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. But I don't think their own grandmothers. I'm taking care of my grandmother. I mean, if families take care of, you got to take care of yourselves. You got to take care of your own here, okay? It's not my responsibility to just ruin my whole life so some dude who never cared about his grandma, who threw his grandma into a nursing home, can be happy, okay? That's not what life is about. Life is about, living life to the fullest, all right? So continue to live your life to the fullest, but do it in, do it in a responsible manner like you would during any freaking flu season, for God's sake. This panic is ridiculous. And yeah, it's scary to see people, lung x-rays of people who've been smokers their whole freaking lives who die from this thing. Okay, there's a price to pay for being unhealthy. This is weeding out a lot of people who are unhealthy or who are old. When you're old, you die. Guess what? Every year, a lot of old people die from all sorts of things, okay? The media is having a field day with it. All sorts of people are having a field day with it. And I'm just trying to tell people, like, be rational here. Be rational here. If you are healthy, there's nothing to worry about. But, don't go spitting on people. Don't go boom on people's cheeks all the time. It's probably not. It's flu season. You shouldn't be doing it anyway. When you go to the public bathroom, don't touch your butt and then touch your mouth or something. Come on, just be a human. Be a responsible. All right. Again, Bitcoin Meister Trace Mayer would be a wonderful guest on Crypto YouTube, given he wrote the book on the Great Credit Contraction. He talked about money moving to the safest, most liquid. He's always an entertaining guest. People always enjoy him. But this is what my prediction about him, because all these people worship, they want his blood. They want to send him to the Inquisition. He's just laying low now. And guess what? In a few months, no one will even care about what all the nonsense that was surrounding him beforehand. All right. No one will even, because people always like, well, we'll never forget what this person did. People forget. The 80%ers are most people. They forget, they forgive. So what Trace is doing right now, he's laying low. Everyone will forget the whole MWC, and he'll just be back to his normal self again. And the same people will be worshiping him again and think that he's like the Lord or something like that. And it's just so ridiculous that we put people on pedestals like this. And Trace, hey, he's contributed a lot over time. And if again, I said it before, you don't buy something you get for free. You don't buy something you get for free. So if he made that mistake, then he made that mistake, I guess. And people should just say, yeah, that was a stupid mistake to buy something you got. But people just want to excommunicate him and send him to the Inquisition. And it's total overreaction. But hey, we're living in a world of total overreaction now. It's just a total world of overreaction. Most people are not rational most of the time. All right. What else do we have here? Any more questions? All right, talk about Trace. Can't believe we're talking about this gossip nonsense. So, what do we? Oh yeah, so there is a site called, and the name of the site. There's a dirty word in the name of the site, so it causes panic. The name of the site is not. It's not a good name. StayTheFhome.com. I'm not going to say the word, but it's linked to below. And basically, don't depend on the government is the best message you can get from this site. But there are a few tips. There are a few tips on here. Someone just asked me, should people lock themselves up? And there's some actually good tips on this that young people and not so young people can take advantage of. There's some good tips on this site, but the name of the site is horrible. But yeah, if you're an old person, you can take the more extreme advice that is on this site, okay? But yeah, wash your hands. Hey, Bitcoin dominance is increasing. Bitcoin dominance is during this whole situation. I don't. Who is it during a time of mass panic here? I can't really envision altcoins doing well. Like some of the altcoin people are like, maybe I should get back into Bitcoin now that the world is ending. The world isn't ending. No scapegoating, people. Remember, no scapegoating. And that's the thing. People are like, well, the Chinese caused this, or the Europeans. No, nobody. Just take it. Analyze the situation. We just need a spreadsheet. It's funny that this doesn't exist. A spreadsheet, all the people who died, we don't need their names, but what country were they in, their age, their comorbidities, what other diseases they were suffering from, their sex, their race. I mean, and then we can make up our own, everyone can make up their own decision. Now, some of the information has come out. I mean, like the average age in Italy of the person who's dying is 85, or 80, or the median is 85, the average is 82. I mean, we're talking pretty old. We're talking people who smoke a lot. I mean, but we're not getting all the information. Have any black people died? I'm wondering about this too. Could it be? I mean, it would be. How about if black people are totally immune to this? How about? I mean, we don't know the racial breakdown of it. I mean, because it's not happening in Africa. I mean, this would be. But there's so many like politically incorrect stuff that people don't want to touch. But if this is so serious, let's touch it, dude. Put it all out there, or else it's just a joke. If we can't just see a spreadsheet of race, location, sex, age, comorbidities of all the victims, then it's just a joke. It's all speculation. It's all nonsense. All the stuff you read out there, people giving their own little theories about it. I mean, it's a total joke. If the statistics were all out there, we could quickly make some really rational decisions about the whole thing. Because I mean, there are some unknowns about it, definitely. But people who harp on the scariest aspects of it, well, that they're the loudest. And it causes these financial dislocations, and it's just ridiculous. They don't need to happen. Carry on, people. Carry on, and just keep up with your system. Keep doing what you're doing, man. But no scapegoating. No scapegoating. This is not. That means you've lost if you start scapegoating people. It's like, because personal responsibility is new counterculture. This is a time when everyone is irrational. It's the proudest moment to have personal responsibility. At times like this, when you have conviction, let me tell you, it's a great feeling. It's really a great feeling. You're just like, man, I am so glad I am not prone to this mindless groupthink, this mindless mob mentality. I'm so happy that I'm just sticking with the program. I'm not doing anything irrational. I'm living my life. I'm running my 8 miles. I'm doing my show every day. I'm holding my Bitcoin. My hand is as strong as ever. It's a pretty darn good feeling. It's a pretty darn good. And then when you see people doing the opposite, it makes you yell a little bit there, doesn't it? Pound that like button. Okay. Now here's a theory, and it's an interesting theory, and it just shows if this is true, some weak hands are really silly. This is from Alistair Milne. It is very common in times of turmoil that investors sell their best performing investments rather than their worst. Many can't stomach selling at a loss. In my opinion, this is why Bitcoin is currently correlating clearly out of the weak hands with stocks. No free rides. Okay, so it's an interesting theory that people have done well on Bitcoin this year and they haven't done well on other things. So why not take a little bit off the top and cancel out how bad the other stuff is doing on paper right now? It's all on paper, people. All your losses, it's on paper right now. Again, when the 2008 and 2009 issue happened, it was all on paper. And the people who held on to those silly traditional investments, they actually did fine over time. They did fine over time. So it's people who are panic selling anything now are ridiculous. But some of them need the cash. They were living that close to the edge that they need the cash. You shouldn't be in that situation. You should not be in that situation. It should be Bitcoin should be your savings account. But perhaps this theory is correct that there are many people out there that they're suffering some paper losses right now, and they're getting rid of something that's they're still above water with, and whatever. It's silly. You shouldn't be selling a darn thing now. This shouldn't be affecting you in any way. You should have it set up. You should be a long-term thinker, but most people are not. Most people are impulsive. They're in over their heads with all sorts of so-called financial instruments that they have no idea about. And discussing this on Twitter, DM with someone the other day, that real estate, you get the taxes, you get the lawsuits, you have to deal with the tenants, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Bitcoin, what do you get? No, there's nothing like that. Nothing. They can't take it away from you. No one can triple over it. It doesn't get iced over. It doesn't get lead poisoning, et cetera, et cetera. But so many people who get into real estate, they have no idea. They have no idea what they're even getting into. The constant taxing, the constant fees, the water bills. It's unbelievable. All right. So this is from Australia. Australia is going the America route here. The Australian Taxation Office to target cryptocurrency investors with audit warnings. And did I say before 2:30 p.m. on Friday, BTC Benny will be on the show, and it'll be This Week in Bitcoin is at 2:30 on Friday, Baltimore time, Friday. I meant to say that a couple times, but I've been talking about a lot of things today. But back to Australia. Okay, so the most common reason people have received one of these letters is because they have dabbled in this thing and not realized the tax implications. Potentially, they've done their tax returns themselves and not included any profits they have made, or they have not told their tax agent. So yeah, there are a lot of Australians who value their wealth in Australian dollars. They sold their Bitcoin for Australian dollars, and they didn't report it to the tax authorities. And now they're getting letters in the mail saying, we know what you did. We're giving you some leniency. Pay us. So I think they're being a little bit friendlier than the United States and a little bit more to the point. But if you're an Australian and you sold it for, if you value your wealth in Australian dollars, which you shouldn't be a long-term buy and hold, 2024 halving, 2020 halving, depending on how long you've been in this thing for, type of person. And yeah, but you're going to get one of those letters if you sold for Australian dollars, and well, you're going to have to pay the piper. When you get into the fiat realm, you play by those rules. I don't play by their rules because I don't go into the fiat realm. I stick with the Bitcoin. You never sell a Bitcoin for fiat. Hey, but some people are like, "I'll take a little bit off the top." Then you get a little letter from the government. I got a letter from the government the other day. That's what you get. Except you're not a rapper and you're a regular dude, and you're going to have to pay them. Or worse, in the United States, you might get some audit up the. All right, so all right, they're copying America there. Great, Australia, really great. But hey, Australians who sold for fiat, this is what you get. All right. Yeah, and I saw a video from Dayton, Ohio. I think they closed the college at Dayton, and they were like, the kids were rioting in the streets, and I think that's good. If people have civil disobedience because the government shuts down things that they have no business shutting down, I think that's fine. But I don't exactly know what happened in Dayton, so probably shouldn't be. Who knows? Maybe they were just having one big drunken party, and it got a little. But the government, the police were shooting at them. That's not too cool. Not too cool at all. But I don't know the exacts on that story yet. But I do encourage, again, if you're having an event and the government wants to shut it down, they come in with their stormtroopers or whatever. Yeah, you should riot at that point. I mean, it's your darn event. Okay. There's got to be a line drawn in the sand, and we're going to get to that in a second. So I'm sad that Vinny Lingham retweeted this, but it's an example of what I've been talking about. That there's a doom overreaction, and putting people on pedestals, buying into media panic because you are hooked directly into their social media groupthink machine. And these are prisoners of choice. I mean, these worshipers of the mainstream media. They are prisoners of choice. You don't have to be a prisoner of the mainstream media. You don't have to be a worshiper. But this dude fell for every mainstream reactionary irrational panic we've had in 2020. And Vinny retweeted this. This is a tweet. Laugh out loud. Remember when 2020 was going pretty well until literally 72 hours in, we were brought to the brink of war with Iran. And then the entire continent of Australia was engulfed in flames. And then a viral pandemic swept across the planet. And then global markets collapsed. Again, look at this guy's attitude. And Vinny even retweets this nonsense. We weren't on the brink of war with Iran. I mean, there was no, did a war happen? Guys, did a war happen with Iran? No. Did Australia burn up? No. I mean, they buy into these nonsense. And so now the media has even better one. The mainstream media has forgotten about the Iran thing. They've forgotten about the Australia burning thing. And now they're onto this thing. And everybody's falling for it because they're hooked. They got like a direct connection into what the latest story is from the mainstream media. And you're a prisoner of choice. You don't have to, go with every story that the mainstream media, you don't have to buy into it. But so many people bought into all those stories, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger. It's amazing. It is amazing what social media had, the destruction that it can bring when so many people blindly buy into the narrative and just go gung ho into it, and that and people retweet that thing, but yet half of it is like clearly proven to be false. Australia didn't burn down. There was no war with Iran, but hey, those were the trends beforehand. Let's just bring them up again and pretend like they really happened. And so in that thread, there's a reply. Nothing's been going well since we entered an alternate reality timeline on June 23rd, 2016, which obviously has some reference, I guess, to Trump in it. But it's very funny to me because I live in the Bitcoin overlay. And so this guy is trying to say that he's putting Trump on this pedestal because people love to put people on a pedestal. Trump has obviously ruined this guy's life. But he says nothing's been going well since June the 23rd, 2016. That's what happens when you worship people and you put them on pedestals, okay? When you worship the government and put them on. What a fool. Your life hasn't been going well since June 23rd, 2016. You know what's been going on with my life since then? Oh, my Lord. I mean, Bitcoin was worth like $700 then. That was right before the halving. I mean, the people who don't worship others, the people who took personal responsibility and didn't buy into the fiat regime and didn't want to fit in, didn't want to buy the traditional assets, that bought the Bitcoin. Oh, let's just pick that date, June 23rd, 2016, are freaking millionaires now, okay? So, I mean, I don't know what these people can just say the most outrageous things. The world's been horrible since June 23rd, 2016. The world's been horrible. Oh, this year has been so bad. It's just started off 24 hours in. We had a war with Iran. I mean, they can say we're in the golden age, people. And you can deny it as much as you want to. And you don't have to participate in it. But the people who have participated in it are doing pretty darn well and will continue to do well. So you can have this is what your pessimistic attitude gets you. It gets you tweeting about how everything's been going wrong since June of 2016, which to anyone rational out there knows it's complete bullocks, okay? It's complete nonsense. If you haven't done well for yourself since 2016 and you've known about Bitcoin, I mean, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. But I mean, there's been so many other opportunities since that day in 2016. Life has been great. But the people who put all their life and their meaning into politics, I mean, I can't believe people put such meaning into others. They lived through Trace Mayer. They lived through Donald Trump. And if something goes wrong with them, and if their whole lives are ruined, it's such nonsense. Live through yourself, dudes. Live through your freaking selves. That's the lesson you should take from all this situation. Don't be a follower. Do what's best for you. Live through yourself. People are going to look back on this as, oh man, all those people sold. They sold then? Oh my, they thought there was a depression. It was the end of the world. No, I mean, the people watching this now in 2028, they're laughing their butt off at that halving. The people watching this in 2028 are laughing at this now, all the irrationality that was going on. Okay. So another one, we talked about be an individual. The last 4 years, we've had the greatest opportunities to become individuals, and yet more and more people are joining the mindless social media, easy to fit into collective. Scapegoaters got a scapegoat, okay? Scapegoaters got a scapegoat. You don't have to be one of them. You don't have to be a collectivist. I see every day that passes, there are more opportunities for individuals to be individuals, but more and more people join the collective. Personal responsibility is new, counterculture. Don't come crying to me saying it's unfair that I got a lot of Bitcoin and you got nothing. It's totally fair. It's totally about it. Keep on talking about it, people. 60 days out. We're one day closer to an all-time high, of course, because Bitcoin has always returned to its all-time high, you fiat freaks. And yes, the entire situation is a test of sorts. It's a weed out of the pessimists and the doomers from the people who are in motion, for the people who are living in the golden age, for the productive people. When the going gets tough, the doomers panic. And you are seeing who's a doomer now. And they lick boots and they become informants. All right? You're seeing who the informants are now, who the doomers are, who the panic people are, who the boot lickers are that are out there. And hey, the conviction who sticks with the plan and does not panic. All right. We got more here to talk about. We got a lot. No, there's only one more thing. I'm at the end of the show. All right. Oh, and I wanted to mention, yeah, I know I mentioned Tel Aviv, that the party will probably get delayed, I think. But I do look forward to getting back into Israel once they get rid of that 2-week quarantine situation they're going to have. But hey, there's going to a lot of countries are now going to follow the United States and do these irrational bannings of people, which isn't going to make a difference. Old people are still going to die, et cetera, et cetera. Old people we're going to die anyway if this flu didn't happen. So the last thing, I think when I was walking this morning back from synagogue, I heard coming from a gym, it sounded like an 80s song, and it kind of triggered my head, my mind to think about another 80s song, Eddie Grant, Electric Avenue. It's so it's linked to below, Electric Avenue by Eddie Grant, and that'll leave you on a good note, and keep it positive, listen to the song. It should put a smile on your face. All right, dude, that's some passion there from the Bitcoin Meister. Conviction, strong hand, dudes. It's all going to be fine. We're living in some interesting times, but get out there, breathe some fresh air, see some real people. Don't get stuck into the social media panic-stricken fake world. All right. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Remember, subscribe to the channel, like to do, share this video, check out the links below, pound that like button, bang that bell button. And that was a long show. I'll say hi to you guys in the chat. Thanks a lot, dudes.